Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I saw online. I have a couple videos, I have a lot of videos of Robinson Cano fielding, turning double plays, just fielding ground ball, stuff like that. And one video I have is of him taking ground balls while on a minor league rehab assignment, and he's using one hand to field ground balls. He's not using, if you watch him in a game, he'll use two hands, so he'll get down into his fielding position, and his bare hand will be over his glove hand in his normal fielding position. In practice, here you'll see that he's only using one hand, just his glove hand, and you'll see a lot of guys uh, before the game when they're taking ground balls or working on ground balls. A lot of times they'll start with just um, a glove hand play, and they don't really use their transfer hand. And so I want to make a quick video of it because it's something that I like to do when I start fielding ground balls. I like to start off by just kind of working my glove hand and not really relying on my bare hand very much. So I want to talk about kind of how it can help you and how you can do a couple of drills and stuff like that to help your glove hand. The first thing I think it works on, or the reason I think guys use it, is for two reasons. The first thing it works on is your hands, just working on soft hands. A lot of times, if you rely, if you use two hands, sometimes you're going to kind of rely on that non-glove hand to secure the ball, and you might get a little stiff with your hands. It's a little easier to field. So when you use one hand, you're really going to work on using soft hands. If you use stiff hands, it might be a little tougher to secure the ball. So using soft hands, really working your hands, letting your hands work and move, and not being so stiff or hard is one thing that it'll do for you. The second thing that it will do for you is it's going to help your feet, and it's going to help you reading hops. So I always say good fielders have good feet. It's not always just about soft hands. The feet get the hands and the body in the right position. So it's about working your feet. And when you use one hand in practice, well, it's going to work your feet because it's going to make fielding a little tougher because you're using one hand. So you're going to need to work your feet and read the hops and make sure you're picking out the right hop to field. When you field a ground ball, you want to field a long hop, which is a ball that's going to bounce pretty far away from you, or you're going to want to field a short hop, which is one of those hops where it hops maybe a couple inches in front of your glove, so you can go and pick it. You're just going to pinch the short hop. Those are the easy hops you want to field. The tough ones are the in-between hops. That's that hop that's a couple of feet out in front of you, and you kind of get caught in between, and the ball kind of comes up on you, might hit the heel of your glove or up in the chest, and a lot of times you say, well, I got a bad hop, that was a tough hop. It's not always a bad hop. It is a bad hop to field, but it's not the field that's causing it. It's you either didn't get a good read and kind of got caught in between. And sometimes the balls hit hard and you don't have time to pick out your favorite hop. But if you're a middle infield guy or the ball's not hit very hard, it's your job to pick out the right hop. You want to get that long hop or that short hop. You don't want to get that in-between hop because that's the tough one. That's the one that we get handcuffed on. So using one hand in practice, for the beginning few, you don't have to do it the whole time, but it's going to help your hands be a little softer. It's going to help your footwork. It's going to help you reading balls and making sure that you're judging the hops and picking out the right hop every single time. That's a few things that it's going to do. Now, another reason that you want to use one hand in practice is not only will it help mechanically help you field a little bit better and work on some things, but there's a lot of times in games that you're going to have to use one hand to field the ball. So if you're always practicing on two hands in practice, well, you're not going to be very comfortable or confident in the game when you need to use a one-hand play. Now, what are some examples of one-hand plays? Well, at any position on a ball to your glove side that you have to range or reach for, you're going to have a one-hand play. The reason you're going to have a one-hand play is you'll be able to get further extended with your arm. As soon as you try to bring that bare hand and use two hands, well, you can't reach as far. And a lot of times it's tough to get, if you try it, it's tough to get down there with two hands. It's a lot easier to just reach out with that one hand and make the play. So you need to practice these plays. You need to practice one hand. Another few times that you might use one hand is as a third baseman. if you need to drop step quick or come up and charge a ball. As a third baseman, you can't read the hop all the time. So sometimes you're just going to need to use one hand. And it happens in the middle infield sometimes on hard hit balls, but third base especially is a position that you need to work on just your one hand play. Because you're going to have balls hit so hard at you, sometimes with a lot of top spin, that you're going to have to decide quick. Drop step quick, one hand. Or hard hit ball, I need to come up quick and use one hand and pinch a short hop. You don't have the luxury of reading the hops and being able to pick out a nice one and get down with your two hands. A lot of times it's just one hand stabbing at balls really quickly at the hot corner. So you need to work on it to make sure that when you get in the game you're able to do this. And it's not just third base, it's in the middle infield. You get balls hit hard at you. You have balls where you have to extend. You have slow rollers where you might have to come up and field the ball one-handed. And every now and then, when a ball hits you, you might think you're reading the hops properly, but all of a sudden you realize, oh man, I'm going to get in between hop, and you got to step up real quick, use one hand, pinch the short hop, and throw to first base. You got to make sure that you practice that stuff. Now, how do you work on it? Well, you can do what Robinson Cano's doing here and just don't use your bare hand as a safety net and just kind of put it by your side or behind your back, whatever you want to do, and just kind of use your one hand and work on having soft hands, funneling the ball up still like Cano does here, and just use one hand. Do it for about 10-15 and then go to your normal fielding technique. There's another video I have on here, a past video, where it shows me on both my knees and I have someone hitting ground balls to me and I'm just working on one hand, not using the bare hand at all, just one hand, pinching the short hops, just working the ball, trying to work on soft hands. You can do it that way too. So a lot of times, if you watch guys like Evan Longoria, Alex Rodriguez, I've seen those guys do a lot of drills where they're down on their two knees and they have someone just hitting ground balls to them. Doesn't have to be very far away. It can be 30-40 feet away, just hit nice soft ground balls, just really working on the one hand. And then they get up, move back to the position, and then they can start going two hands, or you can stay with one hand on regular ground balls. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Most important thing is just make sure you mix it into your routine every now and then. Don't always have to do it, but I think it's something good, especially at the beginning of practice, to just kind of get your hands working a little bit. Don't rely so much on that bare hand, and just let your glove hand do the work. So give it a shot. Tell me how it works. Tell me if you notice the difference. All right? Thanks, guys.